Hello everybody, it's me, Sabrina the Princess Fusion, and as you can see from this background behind me, it's not the typical one, so that means I'm in the France. So I'm going to explain how TAPIF is going. If you don't know what TAPIF is, check the links below and that will give you a good explanation and briefing about why I'm here as an English assistant and what I'm doing. So I'll give you a brief overview so far of how everything is going and if you should do it. Mind you, this is only my experience. I've heard and have seen a lot of different experiences for English instructors and language instructors in general, from depending on each academy and school. So it's going to vary, but there's some general overview, common themes that have been happening. So I have 3 schools, and they're all generally fairly close to one another. One of them is about 45 minutes away, other side of the city. So I have 2 college and then 1 lycée. College is like junior high. And the ages are about, I want to say 10 to 16. And then I have lycée, which is like high school. And that is going to be from 16 to 2021. So some students, after they've taken the bac, they come back. So I have some girls that are hairstylists, for example, that they took their bac already and they're now learning how to be dermatologists, do makeup, hair ladies. Sorry, my English is just like getting so bad now, living in France. Anyways, so as an English language assistant, there's a lot of variation between my schools when it comes to teaching them. I have some schools where I'm actually doing the lesson plans. So for example, I've taught about Halloween, Thanksgiving, starting in Christmas, done holidays, and then I've also done, let's say, culture. So I've taught about the US judicial system, and then I've also done a little bit of stereotypes, and then also common events that are happening, or big events, and that is of course the elections. So overall it varies. So there's some classes that I do teach in by myself or with a teacher that's just observing, and then there's other ones that I am strictly observing the classroom, which is good to see different teaching styles. And then there's other ones where I just put my word in when necessary. So there's a lot of variations when it comes to what I'm doing, and I'm sure it's the same for what other students are doing for TAPIF. I should say and note that I really didn't have too much teaching experience before I came over here. I did teach people French in my university because our French program was in the process of being cut out. So I helped people with that. That was my only advice. I've mostly just mimicked teachers that I've really admired, and so far it's worked out well, so we'll see. I've worked for solid, I would say, 2 months now as a teacher. We do only 12 hours, which isn't really that much, but mind you, you have to put into effect commuting, which can be a little bit of a hassle, especially when your classes are canceled. So this has happened to me several times, and other friends that I've had that will commute 45 minutes. Some people even do 2 hours so that they can stay in the city, and nobody tells them that class is canceled. For example, yesterday, my kids weren't even in France. They were in Germany. But somebody forgot to tell me that my kids weren't even in the right country, or the same country as me. Or last week it was China, So that's just great. Communication is a little bit different here. So be aware of that. Mind you, it won't be for all schools, but out of the 3 schools, there's a little bit of a lack of communication when it comes to, let's say, my scheduling. So because there was no formation, which typically all schools or all academies are supposed to do for students, but I didn't, was that I got to choose my schedule, which is great. So I have Fridays off, and this is typically a thing for assistants that you get either Fridays or Mondays off, or even, let's say, Wednesdays in addition, because they're half days. Going off of that, there are a lot of vacations that you get as an assistant, which is a great bonus because we get paid vacation. So I've already had vacances trisant, which is for 2 weeks, and now Christmas break is coming up. And then after Christmas break, I have winter break, which is pretty much the whole month of February, and then I have spring break. So since it is pretty much a year-round school here, there are big chunks of breaks that we get to benefit as teachers and then have the opportunity to travel around. You should keep in mind, I guess, too, if you have other assistants that are friends, that sometimes your schedules won't be the same when it comes to vacations and breaks, depending on what academy you're from. So, for example, my friend in Bordeaux doesn't have the same vacation dates as I do, unless they're, let's say, Christmas, because everybody, regardless, in France has off those weekends. So keep in mind when you're planning for vacations. Generally, though, it works out pretty well that there's some overlapping time with that. Keep in mind, too, for some of the assistants that you might end actually early, not on April 30th, that spring break starts, let's say, the 15th and will go to the end. So keep that in mind, depending on your academy, that you actually might be done as an assistant pretty early next year. That being said, you do have the opportunity to renew, which I'm still debating about, and I'll get into paperwork also once I actually receive it. So be aware that there is a lot of waiting still in France, let's say for OFII and other, let's say, social security number and medical information. So don't think that just because you're in France means that you're done with the waiting game. No, it has just begun, ladies and gentlemen. So overall, I would say to people, if you're considering doing the program, yes, it's a good experience. No, you don't receive too much money, but you receive enough to live on. And there's a lot of means, let's say, such as the CAF, for example, which will reimburse you because their salary is at a minimum. So yes, it's good, but just don't have too high of expectations and so that you give your hopes up. I really enjoy so far teaching my students when there is classes, and that it's been fun, to discuss France and compare it to the US and teach them English. I would recommend you, if you aren't too strong in your French language skills, to brush up on it, because honestly, being someone that's fluent in French, it has helped tremendously to know French and to be able to translate, especially for my high school students, because they're very timid when it comes to speaking in French because they're scared of looking stupid. So explain that to them. Everybody looks stupid in their life. I probably look stupid now. So c'est la vie. I hope you guys got some information out of this. Of course, I'll link my previous vlogs about TAPIF down below, as well as my blogs I have on the TAPIF application process. If this is your first time, I did step by step if you're interested in that. And also I have links to my lesson plans if you're currently a TAPIFer. So ask me questions below, and I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.